You're not the only one getting Allan Peters content on your social media. If you're on design TikTok, Instagram, and even LinkedIn, you've seen this man fix many iconic logos. I mean, this series has gained him millions of views from designers and non-designers alike. Parts of the community, the design community, have voiced their opinions on this series of content, with many not being fans of the work. Some have called this series disrespectful to historic designers, not an accurate representation of the industry, and even an ego trip. It's gotten to the point that Peters has gotten many negative comments and messages, to the point where he's decided to stop using the word fix in his content in favor of reimagine. So what exactly is Peters doing, and is it helping or hurting the design world? I'm Ziggy the Designer. Design is all around us, we might as well talk about it. The desk of Allan Peters has been seen by millions these past few months as he walks viewers through his process of fixing, or reimagining rather, these iconic logos. Some of his most popular reimaginings include Gatorade, Citibank, and of course the Paris Olympics, which has gained a bunch of traction. But before we dive into all of that, let's look at who Allan Peters is. Peters is a graphic designer out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. He is one of the more prolific designers in the United States. You've undoubtedly seen his work for the city of Eagan and the retail giant Target. If he was at a major agency, I promise he'd have greater name recognition. Our industry, the design industry, heavily favors agency creatives, but that's a conversation for a different day. So what is this thing with Allan Peters' social media? Well, a few months ago, Peters started this series where he reimagined iconic logos. It started with a reimagining of the Shell logo, the gas company. That led to more reimaginings, and then to short form content where he walks viewers through his creative process with these reimagined logos. And it's the short form content that really let him take off, and he's gained thousands of followers since starting this series, and he's gained millions of views. So what's the problem? Many designers, especially experienced agency designers, aren't big fans of the content. There are many call-outs. Some say that this content disrespects the work of the original designer. Some simply don't like his approach, saying that it's very self-centered. But the biggest call-out that you'll see is that his content isn't an accurate representation of what the design process is really like. And when I say design process here, I really mean agency process. The ad agency, the design agency process. Is that fair criticism of the content? Yeah, I mean, when you're working with a big client like Gatorade or Citibank or UPS, which he's reimagined in his series, you're rarely gonna get full creative freedom over everything, right? I mean, it's incredibly rare that a company lets an agency, let alone a small design practice, completely redesign their logo. I mean, which is pretty much exactly what Peters has been doing in his content. And on top of that, Peters doesn't ever really cover the logistical side of agency process, such as strategy, working with timelines, and even juggling multiple projects at once. But that's not the point of the content. His content is educating the general public on design and design principles. His content is reaching hundreds of thousands of people. He currently has over 600,000 followers on Instagram, and I know those aren't all designers. If you put 600,000 people in a room, I doubt all of us are going to want to live on a designer's salary. So he's definitely reaching and educating non-designers on the design world. I mean, his reimagining of UPS is a great example of this. He references the design legend Paul Rand, retells the story of the historic UPS brand, and shows how he implements that storytelling into the final design. I mean, it's brilliant. And This type of educational content helps the design world. It helps build value to what we as designers can deliver. Whether or not you like his final design is subjective. And that's the great thing about design. You're going to have people who love the work, and you're going to have opportunities to get better. And that leads me to this. I believe what Allan Peters is doing is great for the design community. This content is allowing people to appreciate our work for once. Have you forgotten the doubt that your parents had when you told them you wanted to be a designer? Have you forgotten the many times you've been asked to do a logo for free? Have you forgotten about the fear and anxiety that comes with layoffs? Because when layoffs happen, design is always the first team to go. Ordinary people, non-designers, the people who don't value design, are all being educated on design. They're finally starting to gain an appreciation for the work that we do. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. That's all I have for y'all today. Be sure to like, follow, share, subscribe. I've been Ziggy the Designer. If there are 2 things you need to know about me, it's that 1, I love design. And 2, I'm very opinionated. I'll talk with y'all later. Bye-bye.